o'clock. Can we open the regular council meeting for Wednesday, April 17th, 2024? Can I have a roll call, please?
McLaughlin.
Present.
Oostbaker.
Here.
Lentz.
Here.
Schultz.
Present.
Clark. Conrad.
Present.
Thank you.
Can I have a motion for the approval or amendment of the tentative agenda as posted?
I move that the tentative agenda be approved.
Second.
McLaughlin.
Yes.
Oostbaker.
Yes.
Lentz.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Conrad.
Yes.
Thank you.
Number 2, consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a request is made prior to voting.
Can we take B out and go separately, please?
Okay.
I make a motion, we approve consent agenda items A through H except for B.
Second.
McLaughlin.
Yes.
Oostbaker.
Yes.
Lentz.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Conrad.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do you need to abstain?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm gonna start abstaining if that one electric is on the accounts payable, so we don't have that
Okay.
audit situation.
So can I have a motion to accept the approval of council accounts payable claims?
Make a motion, consent agenda item B be approved.
Second.
McLaughlin.
Yes.
Oostbaker.
Yes.
Lentz.
Abstain.
Schultz.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Conrad.
Yes.
Thank you.
So you'll just do that anytime that one's at there?
Yeah, I'll check it, and if it's not on there, I won't worry about it.
Oh, there we go. Okay, number 3, public hearing. It's now time to, the time and place for the public hearing regarding the proposed city budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing, please?
Move that we open the public hearing for proposed resolution number 2024-4-10.
Second.
McLaughlin.
Yes.
Oostbaker.
Yes.
Lentz.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Conrad.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the proposed city budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025 was published according to law on April 3rd of this year. City Clerk Angie, has there been any written objections to the proposed budget?
There are not.
And would you like to review the proposed budget estimates for us?
Okay. I think we'd ask if there was any questions from the public. And we've reviewed the budget for the upcoming year. We have tried to maintain services that we have been offering. In light of increasing costs, that's been a little bit of a challenge. There's also the fun of dealing with the new regulations established by the state legislature as far as what we could or could not budget. The maximums we could budget for things. They took out some items, like previously we had a separate item for Memorial Hall. So we budgeted a regular budget and then we can add that in. But we can no longer have that as an add-on. So we had to, determine how much we were going to budget for that, how we were going to maintain it. All in all, the tax rate is substantially the same as it was last year.
Is there any public input regarding the budget?
So moved.
Second.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Osbaker,
Yes.
Lentz,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Conrad.
Yes.
Thank you.
Can I have a motion then regarding resolution number 2024-04-10, please, regarding the budget?
I make the motion, resolution number 2024-04-010, I'm sorry, -10 be approved.
Second.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Osbaker,
Yes.
Lentz,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Conrad.
Yes.
Thank you.
Number 4 on the agenda is Keokuk County Economic Development Report. Karen?
So we had a very good meeting on Tuesday of this week with the board and additional members. Covered a number of topics regarding activities with ISU Extension. We got a good thorough report from the Sigourney Schools through Superintendent Hatfield. We also discussed at some length activities related with the car show and the marketing of the car show, getting that underway. We have a number of sponsors already secured. We have a number of entries that have already been entered, so we're actually doing well on the schedule this year. Farmers Market is very well organized thanks to Sandy Klopp. She's done an outstanding job. We have food vendors. We actually have more food vendors than we have slots, which has never happened before. She's just incredible. The Grants and Finance Committee is becoming active as we look for sources of funding for two purposes. One, to help organizations within the county who have certain needs and who approach us. And we already have one business that has approached us looking for assistance to find grant money or other sources of funds for a project. And also for funding of projects that we, KCED, want to undertake ourselves. It's just in the very beginning stages. We're trying to work out the rules of engagement and specific goals so that we know exactly what we're trying to do, that we're making good progress. And we're doing some work also with the industrial park. We have interest in some of the properties down there. And so we had a good discussion about the possibility of resurveying the industrial park so that we have smaller parcels available for businesses. We're not attracting heavy industry the way we had thought we might in the 90s. So we're making an adjustment to accommodate the smaller types of businesses. And then to close out the meeting, we had a presentation from Adam Clark, who's a candidate for sheriff. Very well received by the group, and it was an excellent presentation. That's all.
Thank you. Number 5, Park and Recreation, there's nothing listed. Do you have anything? Number 6, Street and Sanitation, discussion and possible approval of recommendations regarding sanitation rates and container rates. Randy?
Yes.
you able to-
Yeah, I'm the chair of that committee. Yeah, the committee met, and we have some recommendations. This comes on, I mean, this meeting, it's all the good stuff, right? Taxes, taking a look at what the city charges for different services. You know, you look at the numbers, and you have to do what you have to do because these are proprietary funds and they have to be self-supported. So this year, here's going to be the recommendation is for a little larger increase than what we had been accustomed to. Every 5 years, we look at the rates, make a recommendation for the upcoming fiscal year, and then make projections for the years, the next 4. The good thing about it is that we also go back and look at these rates that we've set out in the resolution every year and decide whether in fact that we need to continue with the proposed rate or if it could be modified. You know, that could be up or down. so it'd be great if we could go down, right? So, that's out there for next year for discussion, but, there are the different parts of sanitation, to not be confused with which sanitation we're talking about here. We're talking about garbage pickup. And so, you see up there, in the green, the projections, also the recommendation then for the first year is 24-25. The rate would go, for the flat rate would go to $12.55 from $11.41. That's a 10% increase, in case you've done the math. In the following years, the recommendation is for 5% each of those 4 years. Not because we want to, but because that's what we have to do. Also discussed was containers, or you might say the dumpsters. That might be the term that you might be more familiar with, for the privately owned containers, moving from $20 to $30 per discharge. And then number 4 that you see up there on the list is the city-owned containers, from $25 to $35 for each discharge outside the city limits. And it's a little higher. That $25 to $35 increase is for inside the city limits. The $37.50 to $52.50 would be for city-owned dumpsters that are outside the city limits. I think there's one more piece here. Also talks about the rest of the language is the same as far as when they'll be done, when they'll be discharged or dumped, and then the last piece is having to do with, if you look down there in the bottom, it says, well, no, it's talking about containers would be allowed to remain at the same site for 1 week, and if the container is delivered on Tuesday, is kept until the following Tuesday, and then discharged $25, then it says 35 or 52.50 would be the new charges there for that purpose. And any additional discharges would be the same rates. So I hope you've taken a look at it, but I don't know if there are any questions. But if there are any questions, I would make a recommendation then, or make a motion to accept these new rates as proposed.
Second.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Oostbaker,
Yes.
Lance,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes?
Clark,
Yes.
Conrad.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, number 7, water and wastewater. Discussion and possible approval of recommendations regarding water rates, water surcharge rates, and bulk water rates.
So the Water and Wastewater Committee met on the 11th of April and covered these 3 topics. As Councilman Schultz mentioned, we have a need to increase the rates, much the same reason. And so we discussed a proposal that was put forward to increase the rates for the base water rate, meaning the first 1,000 gallons, and for usage beyond the 1,000 gallons, to be increased by 10%. There was, and this was discussed and is considered necessary, not only to ensure that we can cover the costs for the service provided, but also that we are able to accumulate the necessary funds to deal with the inevitable maintenance and breakage that needs to take place, that needs to be addressed when it takes place. And we all know when you've got a main break, that's not something that you can stand around and look at. So the new rates today, the first 1,000 gallons is $21.60 at a 10% increase that would go up then to $23.76. After the first 1,000 gallons, the committee agreed that we would raise the rates, or recommend that the rates be raised, I should say, from $5.75 to $6. There was some discussion that it might make some sense in order to accommodate households on fixed incomes and lower income households to keep the rate maybe lower for, or the increase lower for the first 1,000 gallons. However, the committee decided against that because one can't necessarily determine based on an assumption of a single occupant household that the effect would be as desired, because one could imagine a household with several children where there would be no way to keep usage under $1,000. So, pardon me?
Yeah.
1,000 gallons. Did I say dollars?
No. No.
Shock factor.
Well, at least I got everybody's attention. So we decided to make an across the board increase of 10%. That's the recommendation for the council. And then finally, the water surcharge rate was also considered, and the recommendation is to elevate that from $4.75 to $5 to cover maintenance activities. Finally, we discussed the bulk rate, bulk water sales. And this addresses consumption typically by commercial operations, such as the organizations that come in and work on the streets. The usage of that is typically passed on directly to the customer of the user. And so we considered what would be appropriate in this case. At the moment, in the current budget, we're charging $35 for the first 1,000 gallons and 10 for every additional 1,000 gallons used. They can consume quite a bit of water depending upon the project. What was decided after some discussion was that we would charge bulk water sales at twice that of the residential cost. So for the first 1,000 gallons, it would be $47.52, and for additional 1,000 gallons used, it would be $12, both numbers of which are twice what the residential rates are.
I thought that's the way it would read.
Excuse me?
I did not think it would read like this. So that we didn't have to change it every year, or so that it kept up with?
And that was my note that I said I still needed to talk to John Weir to get some of the verbiage fixed. Because it will be twice whatever the current rate is.
Yes.
Yes, and so I just wanted him to weigh in on how we should word that. So that we all understand, then I'll talk to him about verbiage before we do the first reading.
Okay. Because it just seems to me if that's what we're gonna do, then when we raise the regular rates, it automatically changes
Yes.
that. And we don't forget this or whatever else. Sorry.
Yes.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, you're correct, so.
So questions? If none, I would make a motion to approve the recommendations of the water rates, water surcharge rates, and bulk water rates for the coming year.
Second.
Ralph?
Yes.
Oostbaker?
Yes.
Lentz?
Yes.
Schultz?
Yes.
Barn?
Yes.
Conrad?
Yes.
Thank you.
Number 2, underwater and wastewater, discussion and possible approval of recommendations to increase customer utility deposits.
So currently, all residents are required to make a deposit of, I believe, $125. This is for homeowners and for renters. Due to increased costs similar to what we just discussed with garbage collection and water and wastewater. It's necessary or we believe it's appropriate to increase the deposit amount. There was actually quite a bit of discussion about how this should be done. The recommendation was that the new deposit should be $150, again, based on usage and cost. There was additional conversation that it might be appropriate for the committee to consider and ultimately recommend a higher deposit for rental properties. And the reason for this is that statistically there is a greater probability that when renters vacate the premise that there may be an outstanding water bill. And so not only did we consider raising the rates for the residences in general, but it was ultimately decided that it would make sense also to increase the rents or the deposit amount for renters such that it's greater than for homeowners because of the reasons stated. So the recommended deposit for rental properties for utilities is now, we suggest $200 and $150 then for homeowners. Are there questions or comments?
I make a motion to approve the recommendation for the increased customer utility deposits.
Second.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Oostbaker,
Yes.
Lentz,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Conrad.
Yes.
Thank you.
Number 3, under water and wastewater, discussion and possible approval of recommendations for a water surcharge project. Don, would you like to explain?
This summer, we're gonna be doing a small water main project over on Cherry, the 500 and 600 block of Cherry, a little under 1,000 feet. The water main there that we had consistent breaks with over the year, and it's the next on the list, our 5-year plan to replace it. So we're replacing the main that's there, and Brett and I and the city guys and Billy will be doing it. Kind of an in-house thing, but that's what we're looking at.
Any other questions for Don? If not, can I have a possible approval of the recommendation?
I move that we approve the recommendation for the water surcharge project.
Second.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Oostbaker,
Yes.
Lentz,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Conrad.
Yes.
Thank you.
Number 4, under water and wastewater, discussion and possible approval of recommendations regarding sewer rates and sewer operating and maintenance rates. Stephanie?
Yep. They're 10 minutes each, the other two. Your council meetings are an hour long. We, just like everybody else, are recommending a 10% increase on the flat rate for the first year and 5% for the next 4 years. The discussions every year to see if that will work. And then also on the operations, O&M, and maintenance rate, increasing it from $5.50 to $6. Yeah, you guys can all read, right? Or do I need to read that?
No.
Okay. That's all I got. So if anybody has questions, I don't have answers. Just kidding. I get nervous. I don't
When
want
you talk, it's okay.
I guess, okay. I would, make a motion to approve recommendations regarding sewer rates and sewer operating and maintenance rates.
Second.
Thanks.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Oostbaker,
Yes.
Lentz,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Conrad.
Yes.
Thank you.
Number 5, under water and wastewater, discussion and possible approval of changes to sewer revenue bond payments. Angie, could you explain that?
Yes, so, every month I move $30,000 from the sewer revenue to the sewer sinking, which is the sewer debt service fund. Our annual principal and interest payments are right around $350,000. Of course, this is new, just starting with this, so the interest is quite a bit higher. So what I propose is, in the beginning, in 2015, trying to be proactive, the city council voted to move, it started out at $12,000 a month, and then it went to $15,000 a month, over out of the sewer into the sewer project fund, so we would kind of be ready when all of this got going. So we moved a total of $1,176,000 over there in anticipation of this. We did spend some of it. There's some, before we got our loan, there's engineering fees that had to be done and other things that we did spend some of that money on instead of borrowing that money. But what I'm proposing is, since there's quite a bit over there that came out of the sewer fund, is instead of moving $30,000 every month out of the sewer profits, to move $20,000 and then move $10,000 out of the sewer project to the sewer sinking, so we still get our payments made, but it'll ease up the sewer fund just a little bit. If does everybody understand what I'm talking about? There's a lot of word sewer in there. So, does that make sense, or anybody have questions?
I'm sorry, I'd like to hear.
Gary looks confused.
Seriously?
You want me to try and Gary-fy this?
Sure.
Can you just call up like one of the revenues? Something that just shows the numbers. Remember else that'd be accounts.
You know what? Yeah, I think I could do that.
I didn't bring it.
Here you go. So, if you look at this right here, the sewer utility fund, I move $30,000 every month out of there, and I move it to the sewer sinking fund. Okay? So you can see it in the revenue side there. So I'm proposing to take $20,000 that way, and then there's the sewer project fund that for 6 years or so, we moved $15,000 over every month. I'm proposing that we take $10,000 a month out of there and move up here to the sinking fund, so that the payment is still made. There's still plenty of money there, but it's not hammering the sewer fund itself so hard.
And then we're actually paying for a sewer project. We're paying for a sewer project out of the sewer project fund.
Correct. Correct.
Because the balance is a little over $1 million right now. It's
Correct.
A little high.
Yeah, so, Donnie again uses this for projects that the city guys can handle, but probably $1 million of that, or $950,000 of it anyway, is sewer dollars that we were anticipating needing for the sewer project. So we can use it to help make the payments. So that's what I'm asking, is just how we get that money to the sewer sinking fund. We just split that up a little bit, so it's not so harsh on the sewer fund.
Okay, thank you, that helps.
I'll make a motion to approve that change.
Thank you.
Second?
McLaughlin.
Yes.
Osbaker.
Yes.
Lentz.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Conrad.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, number 8 on the agenda is public safety, discussion and possible approval of quotes for one-time fees and monthly fees with MCG for a camera project.
So this is for internet connection to the 9 locations where the new cameras are going throughout the city. We need internet connection to get the data back to the city hall so we can review it. MCG's one-time fee one-time hookup fee is $125 per location, and then $69.99 a month per location for the 9 cameras. Questions?
Camera project.
Oh,
Out of general.
So we approved, last year, we approved total camera project budget of $150,000, so that's what this funding is coming from. If there's no questions, I would make a motion to approve the quotes for the one-time fees and monthly fees for MCG for the project camera.
Second.
McLaughlin.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Vince.
yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Conrad.
Yes.
Thank you.
Are they, question, not about approving this, but, so is this going to be up and running, how soon?
So I think all the hardware is installed at each location. It's just a matter of hooking it all up.
So we had to approve it, so they could do
Yes.
that. And- Okay, I know we talked about poles at one time, and I was part of the camera purchasing, I guess, but I just was curious how soon it was gonna roll out, what we were talking about. Thank you.
It should be soon.
Yes.
Can we live stream from those?
Ask Steve.
No.
Okay.
I don't think he thinks that's funny.
Number 9.
Well,
I
you
just,
could
I just
actually-
asked with Steve in mind.
If you wanna be on those cameras, I'm sure you could be, Ed.
No, I just meant it's like we could just, that they would, I wanted to look at the cameras one day. If I-
That is
I
such a
do
good
not
issue.
believe that there will be access to the public to view the cameras. It will only be viewed by certain individuals here at the
For
city.
public safety.
Chief
For
is
public
saying
safety,
no.
yes.
Yes.
There are cities that have, where you can go to the IP address and look at their cameras, but these are not set up that way.
Do we have anything else? Number
Or I
9.
could look at the fountain.
These
Or
are
I
good
could look at the
questions.
fountain no matter where I was at.
Just get
It's
number
good
9.
conversations.
It's all right, sorry.
Number 9, finance. Do we have anything under finance?
No, since I just talked.
10, under human resource, do we have anything? Okay. 11, city clerk, discussion and possible approval to set date and time for public hearing regarding city budget amendment for fiscal year 2024.
I would like to propose that we set that for Wednesday, May 15th at 6 o'clock PM.
16.
15th.
So moved.
Second.
McLaughlin.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Vince.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Conrad.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, number 12 on the agenda, public input. Do we have any public? Council? City? Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?